Hello, and welcome back to Character Creation. Man, it's been a while since I've said that. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Pathfinder character sheet. We're going to be using the standard 2-page character sheet, though be assured that anything you learn here can be used on any Pathfinder character sheet, or even just scratch paper if you want to just write down your stats. So let's go ahead and take a nice little look. Oops, a little too close. Okay, so I'm going to try to line this up as well as I can with the basic character creation in Pathfinder's rulebooks. So let's go ahead and roll for the stats. So I've already pre-rolled for all my stats, and I have a 14, a 12, a 17, a 13, a 17, and an 18. Those are some pretty good stats. So, I think I know what I'm going to do for my race and class. And by I think I know, I mean I decided like at the beginning of the video, well, like when I started setting up. So, I am going to be a half-elf ranger, level 1. So, as a ranger, we're probably going to want high dex. You could do strength instead of dex, but dex is a lot more common. Let's see, what else? Constitution, it's pretty nice. Intelligence is useful for skills, though not all that useful as a ranger. Wisdom we need because as we level up our ranger, we will gain the ability to cast spells, and their ranger spells are wisdom based. Charisma's nice. You gotta look pretty for all them ladies. And animals. Actually, charisma is really important for rangers with some of their wilderness skills, but I think we could still use it as a dump stat. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is throw in my 18, throw in one of my 17s, my 14, another 17, and we'll just split up my dump stat with my dump stats. So, as a half-elf, instead of getting pluses and minuses to specific abilities, I can actually choose to add +2 to any individual ability. You could probably argue this with your DM, the ability to add +1 to 2 separate abilities, but I mean, I'm not passing up the chance to get a 20. Level 1 with a 20, that's some good stuff. So, we can go ahead and do the same thing. Go ahead and do our math. Now remember, every 2 levels is a new modifier. So, 10 is neutral, 11 is with 10, 12 is 1, 14 is 2, 16 is 3, 18 is 4, 20 is 5, so on and so forth. So, with this, we can actually fill out a lot of this stuff right away. Dexterity modifier, got it. Done. We move down here, Constitution modifier, got it. Done. Wisdom modifier, same thing, actually. It's nice. Down here with our strength, we throw in our strength modifier, and we actually have a bunch of these modifiers already done. It's really nice. We'll throw in our size modifier because we're normal, and we'll move up here. So, as a ranger, I gain a D10 health. Obviously, level 1, health is already maxed out. Adding our Constitution score gives us 13 health starting off the bat. That's pretty good. So, size. We're going to be a medium creature. I haven't decided my gender yet. Age, height, weight, hair, and eyes. These ones are interesting. Age, height, and weight have tables specifically designed for them. However, a lot of times DMs don't use that. So make sure you ask your DM before you just throw numbers in. But if your DM is okay with it, just throw numbers in. Hair and eyes, 9 out of 10 times your DM will let you do whatever you want with them. However, your DM might have reasons for you to have specific hair color or specific eye color. Since I'm not going to be using the rolling tables for age, height, or weight, let's just say I'm 120 years old, 5'6", and weigh 86 pounds. That seems about right for a half-elf. We'll say I have golden hair with silver eyes. The deity and the homeland are a little bit weird. Different DMs, different settings will have different, both of them. Your homeland could be anything from some random town in the middle of Middle Earth or Detroit. Your deity, well, I've played with dungeon masters who have named the only deity in the entire universe after themselves, because obviously everybody wants to worship a guy named Mike. And I've also had DMs that have had like huge tiered pantheons with more than 100 gods in them. So for this purpose, I'm just going to go ahead and throw in homeland and deity as my homeland and my deity. Probably should have thrown those around just to be fun. My deity should have been homeland, obviously. So I haven't decided my gender, which makes the name a little hard. But I think I know what I'm going to choose for. I think I actually have a name. I've had this name in my head. I don't remember who I heard it from, but there's been a name sitting in my head for the last couple of days. Alignment, though. Alignment for a ranger is one of the few ones where I think that true neutral is actually a good alignment. Plenty of characters are restricted to their alignment based on what they choose. Monks can only be lawful. Druids can only be chaotic. Paladins should only be lawful good or chaotic evil. There's a little bit of wiggle room depending on which type of paladin and god you are, but I mean, you're pretty much hitting a corner. Clerics have to be the alignment of their deity, so on and so forth. But rangers are kind of a little bit of a mix. Rangers are both chaotic, which is also natural, as well as structured and lawful. They're also a little bit evil, a little bit good. A ranger will chop down a tree, which is against nature, and you could probably say evil. But they also will help out an injured animal, which is a good thing. They protect animals from poachers, which is definitely pro-chaotic. But they also protect humans from animals, which is pro-lawful. So true neutral is actually a really good fit. Now, the name I'm thinking of is Kern. I don't remember where I heard this from or why I heard it, but this name's kind of been sinking in my head for the last couple of days. So let's go with Kern. And Kern sounds like a male name, so we're just going to go ahead and say I'm a male. Let's go ahead and finish throwing in a couple of these. Movement speed. We're going to go with 30. That is the basic movement speed for a normal size race, or medium size race, I should say. And yeah, everything here seems to be pretty good at the moment. So, since we have intelligence of 2, we can go ahead and fill out our languages. We know Common and Elf because we're half elf, half human. But I'm going to say we also know Dwarf, and let's have a little fun with Undercommon. Now, here's the dreaded time. A lot of people hate this part. It is the part that takes the longest when building a character. The skills. So, the skills for a ranger are 6 plus their intelligence modifier. Our intelligence modifier is 2, which gives us 8. So, let's go ahead and choose a craft. We're rangers, so trap making is probably pretty good. And for a profession, we're going to go ahead and be a guide. You know, kind of like a bodyguard, but you're leading people places. You protect them a little bit, but you're mostly leading them there. Sounds like a pretty good thing. So, the class skills for a ranger are Climb, Craft, Handle Animal, Heal, Intimidate, Knowledge of Dungeoneering, Knowledge of Geography, Knowledge of Nature, Perception, Profession, Ride, Spellcraft, Stealth, Survival, and Swim. I have 8 points, so what I'm going to go ahead and do is throw in Climb, Craft, Swim, Survival, and Stealth. I'm going to throw in for Profession and Perception as well. This gives me 7. You know what? As a ranger, Handle Animal could be useful. However, I don't think I'm going to go with Handle Animal. I think instead, I'm going to go with knowledge of nature. So with Pathfinder, you only go up to your rank can only go up to your level. Unlike D&D where it's like you start with your level plus or times 4 and then you get +1 every level, which is, I mean, it makes a little bit of sense, but it's kind of weird. But the numbers do even out because in Pathfinder, if you have a rank in a class skill, you get an instant +3. Which, I mean, that's pretty useful. And since we are an elf, we have keen senses, which gives us an additional +2 in perception. So, ability mod here. This one you could either add in each individual piece, or you can just leave it blank. Personally, I like to leave them blank. I can look over at the ability modifier, but since ranks and miscellaneous mods change constantly, this whole area can become a giant rubber graveyard. So I try to keep it as clean as possible, personally. Okay, let's see. But if we go ahead, since this is digital, we can kind of throw in a couple of numbers. Our wisdom is a 2, right? No, 3. So looking at a couple of these, we have a 9, 7, 9, 7, 5. And we can, since we only have 8 of them, let's go ahead and do this for the rest of our stats. There we go. So, while we're looking at it, we can now move over to the class table. The class table has the basic attack bonus, also known as the BAB or the BAB. For the ranger, that's a +1 at level 1, as well as the saves. We have the fortitude save or fort, the reflex save or ref, and the will save, which is also will. For the ranger, that is a 2, a 2, and a 0. So from here, we can move on to a 5, a 7, and a 3. And with our basic attack bonus, we can actually move into our combat maneuver bonus and defense. So our combat maneuver bonus, 1 + 1, is 2. And 2 + 5 + 10 is 17. Now, combat maneuvers are, to put in the simplest way possible, an attack that does not do damage. If you're trying to trip, if you're trying to grab, if you're trying to grapple, disarm, anything that you are doing aggressively towards another person, but you do not wish to cause a damage number, is a combat maneuver. If you're using a combat maneuver, you will roll with your combat maneuver bonus. If you are defending, you have your combat maneuver defense instead of your AC. And yeah. So, let's go ahead and work with feats. As a half-elf, we actually get a feat by default. This feat is called Skill Focus. And at level 1, we get another feat. So we're going to go with Fleet. I know Fleet isn't the most min-maxy of feats, but it is really nice. It does give us an additional 5 feet to our speed, which is very useful. The skill focus, on the other hand, gives us an additional 3 to one skill. I'm going to use that on stealth. So what I'm going to do is down here, skill focus, and then stealth. I can take this skill multiple times for different skills, or this feat multiple times for different skills. And once the rank in this skill reaches 10, that jump, or that bonus will jump from a +3 to a +6. So, now we're on the fun part of building a character. I've went ahead and rolled for my money, and I got 190. Ranger rolls 5d6 and times that by 10. And I ended up with 15, obviously. Not a great roll. I mean, I could have ended up with 30, so I did beat the average, but whatever. Moving on. We're going to start with a long sword. This is a basic and just something everybody should have a long sword or a short sword in their inventory. Now, attack bonus can get interesting. So, I could add my strength modifier for a +1. Or I could add my basic attack bonus for a +1. Or I could add both my basic attack bonus or my strength bonus for a +2. Personally, I prefer to only use it if the weapon is a plus. So if this was a longsword +2, I would add a +2 to my attack bonus instead of in the weapon's name. Because I have learned to add my basic attack bonus and my ability modifier automatically. Though I do know plenty of people who add their ability modifier and their attack bonus to this attack bonus, and neither of us is wrong. It's basically just which feels better for you. Now, a longsword has a 19 to 20 crit range, and it crits at ×2. It is a slashing weapon, though you could probably argue piercing if you're stabbing somebody. The range and ammunition is nil, and it has a 1d8 damage since we are using a normal-sized weapon. Next, we will be using a longbow. We're going to use the standard longbow, not the composite longbow. The extra 10 feet for an extra 25 gold personally is not worth it. However, if we did have a little extra gold, if we would have had over 200 gold, I would actually probably go with a composite longbow +1, because that plus is worth it. But, I mean, the +1's 200 gold. It's a little bit pricey. Moving on. Again, with the attack bonus, we could add the dexterity plus the bonus attack or the base attack bonus. We could do one, we could do the other, or neither. It's up to you. Now, the longbow only crits at 20, but it crits at ×3. This will often be written as just x3, since 20 is standard crit. A longbow is piercing damage, has a range of 100 feet, and let's just go ahead and buy 100 arrows for it. It also has a damage of 1d8. So, 15 gold from the longbow, 75 gold from the longbow, 15 from the longsword, 5 from the arrows, and that sits us at about 95 gold coins. That's not too bad. So let's go ahead and start working on armor. I think what we're going to take is leather. Very simple, very basic. This gives us +2 bonus. It is a light armor. It has 0 check penalty, but it does have a 10% spell failure rate. It weighs 15 pounds, and in properties, while this doesn't have any magical properties, I'm going to go ahead and add a +6 dex. This means that the leather armor can only benefit from +6 to your dexterity. Right now we have +5, we're perfectly fine. If we go up to 22 and have +6, we're still perfectly fine. However, if we make 24, the leather will start holding us back. There's a little bit of an argument. Once you hit 24, the leather's you're still getting a +1 from the leather. Once you hit 26, the leather's actually worthless. So do keep that in mind. Heavier armors will also make a difference. As this is a light armor, it won't actually affect how much or our movement speed. However, if this had been in medium armor, it would actually reduce our movement speed by 1/3, which would drop us into like an awkward number because we'd be at like 22 movement. Like, that's just weird. But It depends on how you do it. You could argue it would drop us to 25 since fleet, like, oh, it drops 30, or it would drop the 30 to 20, but then fleet would add on top of that. However your DM wants to do it. Now, we do have a +2 from our leather, and since we're going to use a longbow, we're probably not going to have a shield. So we can go ahead and safely assume +2 and 0. We don't have natural armor, and we do not have any deflection currently. So 5 + 2 + 7, that's 17. We've already got that number down here. It's awesome. So now we have touch. Touch armor is 10 plus your dexterity because it ignores the armor from your armor class. Flat-footed, on the other hand, ignores your dexterity, so it's just your armor. And then there's the awkward flat-footed touch, which just means a 10 hits you. And there's a few times when that's okay. Most of the time it's just the DM being a jerk. Let's see, what else can we do? Let's go ahead and just buy, let's go ahead and just buy some basic stuff. So we're going to get a backpack, a bedroll. We'll go ahead and get a flask for water, and that's an awkward jump. And rations, and we'll go ahead and get a week's worth of rations. And that'll cost us about 5 gold. Actually, I think it's 6 gold. So let's just go ahead and be safe, say 79. We tipped the cashier. He was a good guy. And that will basically, we can survive off this. We're a ranger, we have a decent survival skill, we could eat off the land, we can hunt. Our character's pretty good. So let's go ahead and move to special abilities. So, as a half-elf, we do have a couple of special abilities from our race. We have low-light vision. And we have... excuse me. And we have multi-talented. Multi-talented allows us to have 2 favored classes. And we will use one of those favored classes on Ranger, and the other will sit in the Ether until we choose to multi-class. In Pathfinder, the way you favored class is if you choose your favored class, you gain a bonus related either to your class or to your race. So, standard is a +1 health or +2 skill. Some races have a slightly different version, but that's what most races are, is +1 health or +1 skill every level in your favored race or a favored class. And then classes will also sometimes have a benefit. So leveling up in your favored class just makes you a little bit better. Okay. So let's see, what else do we got? We have Elf Blood, which means we count as human and elf for racial reasons. So if there's a disease that is transmitted between humans or transmitted between elves, you can catch it. And you could also potentially transmit it from elves to humans. So be a little careful there. But only if your DM's doing a high disease campaign. It's probably not going to come into play most of the time. We also have Elven immunity. So immunity to magical sleep. +2 save against enchantment. And awesome. And then finally, we have adaptability and keen senses, both of which are already in use. Adaptability is our skill focus, and keen senses is the +2 in perception. And that's just from our race. Now we can move over to our class. So, our class gives us favored enemy at level 1. We're going to leave that open because we're going to fill that out. Well, we're going to fill out all of them, but we also get tracking and wild empathy. So, favorite enemy. To summarize this, your favorite enemy, there's a long list for the ranger. Being your favorite enemy gives you a number of benefits. It gives you bonuses on bluffs, knowledge, perception, sense motives, survival. It gives you bonus damage. Yeah, you just get a bunch of bonuses against your favorite enemy. And as you level up, you will gain more favorite enemies, and you'll gain bonus or additional bonuses to your favorite enemies. So, at level 5, for example, you will gain a second favorite enemy, and your bonus will change from +2 to +4. So, let's see. What would be a good? We are a ranger, so let's go with something simple. We'll just say animal. So you get a +2 to everything against animals. Pretty simple. Next, we have tracking. A ranger will add 1/2 level. Let's go ahead. Add 1/2 level to skill checks for tracking. So, if you're tracking somebody, you add half your level with a minimum of 1. So, at 1 or at level 2 or 1, 2, and 3, it's 1. At 2 past, you get 2 and whatever half is to your level, making it easier for you to track somebody down. Do notice that tracking does stack with favorite enemy. So at level 20, that would give you +10 from tracking because it's half your level, +10 from favorite enemy because you will have had 5 favorite enemies at that point. And yeah, like whatever your skill in survival is. Like that's pretty big numbers. But that does take a while to get to level 20, so you expect big numbers at that point. And next we have ranger level plus charisma equals diplomacy for animals. Wild empathy can allow you to spend 1 minute to try to improve your standing with an animal. If you're, say, walking down a street, you see a dog, the dog's probably not going to be paying too much attention to you. So you can kind of offer it food, play with it a little bit to try to make it like you. If you're out in the wild, some bear comes raging at you, you might not have a minute to make it feel better, but using wild empathy, you can attempt to make the bear feel calmer so the bear's not so aggressive against you. This actually can come in very handy early game. As you get higher levels, you kind of would, like, there are spells you get, you can talk to animals, you can just straight up go, snap my fingers, you're my pet now. Like, I've used magic spell to calm you, I'm holding you in place, you belong to me. But early game, like if a bear or something like that, a bear could definitely mess the party up. So if a bear comes at you really fast early game, wild empathy could definitely save your life. Yeah. You don't gain spells as a ranger until level 4. But yeah, right here we have a fully viable And I think Kern would probably be a pretty fun ranger to play. So, yeah. I'm going to go ahead and end this here. Tell me what you think. If there's anything that you think you would add or change in this character, feel free to leave a comment in the section below. If you have any questions about Pathfinder for other classes, feel free to leave questions below. And have fun. Have a wonderful day. Bye.